What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys, back yet again, more Halo Wars 2 action and a little bit more Colony. We're playing some ranked 1v1 Blitz today. Figure we mix it up a little bit. I'm going to try to do my best to do a little bit of multiplayer, a little bit of Blitz. A lot of it's probably going to be 1v1s for the most part, at least while I'm by myself. Hopefully we'll be able to get Sloth in here and knock out some 2v2 strategy videos. Again, big shout out to everybody that hung out with us the other day for the stream. Channel over 300 subscribers now, so super awesome. If you're new to the channel, I'll put in that pitch. Make sure to subscribe, hit that little bell button so you get notifications. Follow us on Twitter, it's down in the comments. You can also join the Average Gamer Guys Club. We're going to try to do more streams here in the very near future, so stay tuned for that. So today, full disclosure, it's just going to be this one match we're playing. I'm going to show you a little bit of the deck afterwards, but right before this I played this exact same guy, so I knew he was going to run Shipmaster. I pretty much knew just about all of the cards in his deck, because again I literally had just faced him the match before. It was pretty close right up until about, I would say until one of us got, I think I got to about 160 points, and then I made a few mistakes, and then also his deck just kind of outperformed me in a few manners. So I will say this, I've been seeing a ton of Shipmaster. I played, I think, 4 or 5 ranked games tonight overall, and I think 4 of them I ended up playing were against Shipmaster. I don't know. He's definitely a really good leader. I think people are starting to realize that, you know, if they use their cloaked ability really well, especially at the beginning of the game, they get some really cheeky points, and it's kind of hard to combat because you have to have that specific unit that can fight it and that can see it. So here I knew he was going to run, basically his deck really consisted, and his main strategy consisted of Locusts, Reavers, and Engineers, and a few Elite Rangers intermixed in there, I think again for him, just so that he didn't get tied up too much into the fight, whereas if it came down to it, you know, he needs to be able to see cloak units too. So my strategy here is essentially, especially in 1v1s and in all the games that I played, my strategy was simply to fight for OP Ridge. Now, if you're not familiar, OP Ridge is the ridge in between C and B. I'm really starting to hate the fact that we only have this one map, because that is the strategy that basically everybody goes for. Long story short, one way or another, people are going to try to make a push, and they're going to try to take this. Now, as you can see here, he already has 3 Locusts. I think those are 2 standard, and 1... Ooh, that one... Yeah, I think that one is the Siphon. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to tell. I think so, though. They really do look pretty much, very much similar. And so that was a really stupid play for me right there with that Banshee. But... so essentially what I'm trying to do here again is just control that ridge. I need to control that ridge, and then I can't get too far behind in points. I also can't get too far behind in the energy war. So I'm going to do my best to do a little bit of each. And what I realized with the deck, and again I'll show you after, my deck really needs to be able to fight the Locusts. The one thing I was really worried about was, again, the continued Locust kind of spam a little bit, and that's again really what this guy's deck consisted of, with having Locusts, having Engineers, and then having, again, he does a good deck setup. He's got Reavers as well, especially the Prowling Reaver he uses really well. I mean, look at how much I have a Hunter pair and I have a Grunt Mob fighting that Locust, and it didn't stand a chance. It's just, I don't know, they have to take something away from it, or something, because the Siphon ability is just, it's so good. And then paired together, like I said, in the first game we played, he was able to really come in and kind of crush me, especially in the back half of the game, because he just had like 5 Locusts sitting up on that ridge, and there was nothing I could do. Now that was a really smart play by him to jump the Reaver, but again, I'm going to continue to move. I'm really trying to fight for the points. I'm going to try to use some blast units here, just to kind of swing the tide. But really what I'm doing here is just moving this group kind of back and forth. The other thing I think they could do to kind of help balance a few things would be to potentially make it so that maybe the engineers don't have as much health, nightingales don't have as much health, and I think that would help stop a little bit of kind of the siphon, and healing capabilities. This was a really good, hard-fought game. It actually gets to a point here near the end where I essentially just try to hold serve, if you will, and just maintain. But again, as you can see, he's really not creating anything different, and that's kind of why I ended up making a few subtle changes to my deck right before I came back in to play this. Originally, I had the Wraith. And while I like the addition of having the extra armor and the extra capability to fight, it didn't do me enough of what I needed it to do. And so what I ended up doing here is putting in the Scarred Hunters, and I realized that the Scarred Hunters, they're absolutely brutal. They're great. And I like the 2 Hunter set, I like the 2 Reaver set, and I like the Locust. And the capability here for this deck, it's got a really top end with the Hunter Captain. He's absolutely awesome, but in 1v1s it's kind of hard to get him because you're really kind of facing constant pressure, and it's important to be able to, again, fight for points. You have to do a really good job of micromanaging your team, and these Hunters just absolutely tear up these vehicles, which is absolutely great for me. And so I knew my strategy going in. Once I learned that he was really going to go, again, Locusts and Reavers and Engineers, I essentially just played the best counter unit I could, which was Hunters and the Scarred Hunters, and then obviously my own Engineers and Reavers to help with the Detect. But you can see that small group right there absolutely demolished that Locust, even with the Engineer on it. And it just really punches away. Now this was a big surprise for me. I did not realize that he had this card. But it actually really ends up helping me. I'm going to be completely honest. It ends up helping me because he spends so much energy there trying to fight for that point. He's going to get a couple Hunters killed, that's fine. Kill my Engineer, that's fine. But at this point I'm able to kind of just hold serve on B. And I'm really, at this point I realize, okay, I've got the capability. He's not paying attention. He's trying to fight all those units up on the ridge, because I did successfully grab the ridge. I'm going to make a push for A. Running solo, because people fight for B and C so hard typically, honestly, you do yourself justice if you can go and grab and hold A. A is a point that pretty typically gets forgotten about, and so while I would say, you got to make the smart fights, and you do have to fight for that ridge. I also really am a big proponent of go take A and put some pressure onto A. Especially with a deck like this, if you are trying to use Colony, which is 100% what I'm trying to do here. I obviously want to win and get a good rank, but at the same time, I do want to bring out some strategies for Colony. I think he's a very viable leader in Blitz, especially in 1v1s. If you set your deck up right, and you kind of use some good strategies. I think I ended up developing some pretty decent strategies here. Again, I think you're going to continue to kind of see unit spam. I think you're going to continue to see Locusts be a pretty big part of the meta for this game, especially the Blood Fuel with that Siphon ability. And I think if you can fight and maintain this ridge, if you can hold B, and then you can use, again, your Hunter Captain. He's absolutely tearing up a lot of the stuff that's over here. I mean, he's spending a lot of energy for him to try to take A. And meanwhile, I've kind of just been, I set a few units down. I got a Banshee over there. I got a Reaver. I got an Engineer. And the Hunter Captain, I mean, he's just soaking up the damage like he's supposed to. And he's really doing his job. It's letting me pick up some good energy, and it's kind of letting me get a few things set up over B and on that ridge. So Again, I'm liking this deck, especially the way it performed in this match. And I have my misplays for sure. Like I said, I played that Banshee, and everyone's prone to that. But hopefully, if you set your deck up right, I think, even if you make a few drop mistakes, because I think at least 2 times a game I make drop mistakes where I call on the wrong unit. Maybe I do a bad placement. And as you can see there, the Hunter Captain right there really takes this for me. And again, I'm really liking him and this deck, and him as a unit and as a hero. So at this point, I do realize, again, I know what he's going to try to be playing. I know what he's probably going to be bringing in. I'm trying to be cognizant of the fact that he does have, the Scarab. But you can see the Scarred Hunters right here, drop them in fatigued. And, I mean, they just tear that up. Absolutely awesome. I'm really liking the pair of them, and me and Sloth are going to get together as we have done in the past and take a look and do some comparison to the regular hunters. But I can pretty positively tell you that they are much better than their brothers, and then putting them into a pack, a few of them with an engineer, can really shut some locusts down. So if you're having some trouble with that, I am going to recommend this deck. If you are running 1v1s, again, running ranked 1v1s, it is fun for me. I really do enjoy it, even though a few of the games I've been getting beat up on pretty good. I think I finally found a strategy that I feel comfortable with using, as well as I like the capability, because for me it really doesn't have a lot of weakness. Running both the types of Reavers, no weakness to air. Running both the Hunters really doesn't give me too much of a weakness to, set up ridged blisterbacks or locusts, and it really does provide a little bit of everything for what I need. And then again, getting the Hunter Captain in there, he's awesome. He is really good, and at this point, when I can even get 2 of them in, I mean, they just soak up so much damage that this is actually what ends up winning me this game right here, is because I'm just able to kind of keep these guys on B, continue to contest, and do a little bit of work here. And again, I think I put myself into a good position, but the capability to grab A, hold on to C for a little while, and then again get up into B and make a good contest on that, I think really did win me this game. And we'll time this out. Again, good hard-fought game, but I think the strategy is setting up pretty good. I'd be really curious to see what you guys are running into. If you're playing a lot of 1v1s, what you're running into as far as the meta and what you're seeing. Again, I saw a lot of Shipmaster, and I think this deck sets up not only well to fight Shipmaster, but well to fight most of the strategies that we're going to be seeing. I knocked out a weekly challenge, which was really nice. I've seen the experience gain has gone up, which is really good. So getting up bigger chunks of experience for wins now, which I'm definitely happy about. And overall, a good close game. Definitely a hard-fought game. It does help that, again, I played him in the match before, which is interesting. It's another thing that we've talked about. It might be the time that I'm queuing this up at, but I don't know how big the population for the game is. I don't think at this point Colony's worn off. I would think that a lot of people are still playing it for that, because they want to see it and they want to try it out. But again, tonight, a lot of the games that I was playing in, I was seeing a lot of Shipmasters. So this is the deck. I'm just going to highlight a few things. Again, talked about it earlier, how the Hunters and the Scarred Hunters really together were able to kind of fight the Locust spam, if you will. Just the fact that that's what that guy kept playing. I also knew he was running Reavers, so they do really well against that. And again, Scarred Hunters, I'm a big fan. Hunter Energy, totally worth it. 100% worth it for the damage output. Again, and then this is generally just a pretty all-around good deck. I've got Suicide Grunts if I start to face a lot of Blisterback type of setup over B. Again, you got to have the Blood Fuel. Suicide Grunts, just going back to them again, they're great for that Ridge or for big spam armies. You got to be smart with them. You got to try to catch them. But I think honestly you need some type of blast unit. We got our Chopper to grab our energy. We've got our 2 Reavers in here, and then we've got our Grunt Mob, which really helps me fight kind of the infantry spam if that's what we're seeing. I haven't seen that as much lately. I also like the Grunt Mob for the rush ability. They do come in, they do some pretty good damage. They're great for trying to grab some energy as well, or to continue or push that fight into your direction. Again, the Blisterback, once you kind of get set up, if you can get yourself set up, get a little bit of breathing room after some good fights, you can definitely drop that on the ridge, and that will absolutely super destroy kind of the energy or the small unit spam as well. So again, I'm really liking this deck. I think maybe the Banshee might be one unit that I would look to maybe swap out, but that's kind of what we're sitting. We're going to crack this pack. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you so very much for watching again. It was really fun hanging out with a lot of you at the last stream that we did, and again, we'll be doing more of those soon. We got a lot more Colony coming out over this next week, so stay tuned for that. We're going to look to do our pretty standard unit comparison to take a look at how good the Hunters are respectively to each other, as well as the Hunter Captain, how he kind of stacks up from a statistical point. So stay tuned for that. And we'll also probably do another Colony Blitz deck build as well, maybe tuned more to the 2v2 side. So just trying to get a little bit of everything. So again, I've been Doc with Average Gamer, guys. If you're new, please do subscribe, hit that like, comment down below. Let us know what kind of decks you're using, and if you end up using this deck, how you like it, or what you might change about it. Thanks again for watching. Check you in the next one.